Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Snug Wrestling Podcast. We finally got some answers. We were wondering, we had questions. Who was going to be King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring? What's going to happen next? Who's going to win the triple threat match? We finally found that all out last night. Well, not last night. It was yesterday morning for some of us because yesterday was WWE Night of Champions. And man, we got a lot to go over. The WWE hit us with an unexpected title change and so much more. Welcome back, fellas. I feel like it's been a while. We took a few days off there over the weekend. Glad to see everyone is back. Mr. Blood, Tommy, and Toxic. How's everyone feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. Been a kind of an uneventful weekend, not fully uneventful. Been setting up my new website for my voice acting stuff. That's been fun, but tedious all afternoon. As soon as we're done here, I've got like 3 more things to do to get it finished. I've been working on my book, almost done with the second draft. I'm excited about that. I'm publishing a book for those of you who don't know. Got some podcast stuff happening this week, some cool stuff aside from this review tonight. Not going into detail, but we have an interesting meeting tomorrow for something, myself and Edgar. That's exciting. Tuesday, we also not only have the Great American Bash review, we're also doing an interview with Dwayne Cashman, professional wrestler, indie star, and currently holding 2 championships on the independent scene. Then, of course, we're going to have our normal Thursday nights. Then we have our SmackDown review again on Sunday. So we've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of content to give you guys, a lot of great stuff coming forward. On top of that, we are here to talk about Night of Champions, which happened yesterday. I wouldn't say unexpected title change because quite a few of us had it in mind. I know it was in my book. I said that exactly what was going to happen. That happened. I believe a few of you agreed with me as well. When it comes down to it, I think the show was, and I'm going to be honest here, largely uneventful. I feel like only 2 things of note happened on this show, the opener and the closer. Other than that, everything in between, I feel like it was one very weird decision after another. One very like, why didn't you do this decision after the other? It made me wonder, like, why did you fly all the way to Saudi Arabia to give what genuinely felt like a Saturday night's main event energy level of a show? And it boggles my mind. This was, to me, probably one of the lower PLEs this year, in my opinion, for WWE.
I'm doing good. Night of Champions was good from what I saw, and what I mean by what I saw, I'm gonna be honest, I screwed my sleeping schedule up on accident. But I did literally look at a lot of recaps, a lot of clips, and I got what I could. And I'm pretty sure I'm on point with everything that I have on my notes. But I'm ready to get into the review, and what I saw, the show looked great.
Yeah, the show itself was great. I had a lot of fun with it. I went 4-2. The biggest thing that overall I was mainly looking at, because there's only one match that I truly missed because I was still out with a couple of friends. So I was hanging out with them for a little bit. The only thing I missed was the main event. I got the rest of the show. So I was able to watch the clips of that, see how that went. Let's go for that. But let's get into it.
You missed the best part of the whole goddamn show, Tommy. The main event was the best thing that happened. I feel like that closing match. I think that's why I enjoyed this PLE a lot more than what Mr. Blood made it sound like, because I had a feeling it was going to go down the way that it did, and we'll get into it in a bit, but I did not think they were actually going to pull the trigger on that the way that they did. And I got to be honest, I'm kind of pissed that they did that, not because I don't want to see Sami Zayn as champion, but because I popped so big for that moment. It was such a great moment that it just made me wish I was still able to do reaction videos, because that would have been a perfect clip. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. He fucking did it. So that was why I was so mad at this. But other than that, that was pretty good. But I think we're ready to get into it. So they did the thing that they've been doing on ESPN for the past few PLEs, where it's like they give 1 or 2 free matches before the actual, like, you have to pay for the ESPN subscription if you want to watch the rest of the show. I think this time, because we had 6 matches on the card, they gave 2 free matches, which is the King and the Queen of the Ring finals. And then after that, if you're not subscribed to ESPN, you have to pay to watch the rest, right? And they decided to kick things off with Jey Uso and Oba Femi. Now, I know Toxic is probably really sad about what went down, because good old Oba Femi defeated Jey Uso. Jey Uso could not get the job done. We got no Lesnar, but we got a really good opening match, I thought. And I liked that there was a decisive winner, clean finish. Oba Femi pinned Jey Uso, and he's going on to SummerSlam to face who I hope it's going to be Roman Reigns. I mean, he's been talking about Roman Reigns the past few weeks, Oba Femi has. But it kind of makes me worried now. If we get that match at SummerSlam, Oba versus Roman, I'm going to jump ahead and say we didn't get Lesnar interference at Night of Champions. I'm afraid they're going to save that for the fucking championship match, and that shit would piss me off, genuinely. But what did you guys think of the results, the match, and everything that we saw in this opening match for Night of Champions?
The opening match, it was option 3. During the predictions, I had said that I could see this going one of 3 ways. The first option was Jey Uso wins, but it's not clean. It's with interference from, whoever decides that interfering now is going to make the most sense. Option 2 was that Jey Uso was going to win because Brock Lesnar interferes on Oba, ref goes down, and of course Jey just goes ahead, does some of that heel stuff he's been doing even as a face, and takes advantage, doesn't care that Oba basically got his ass beat through interference. Then I said there was option 3. The third option that had been floated around lightly on the internet by the IWC, and that's what the third option was. Lesnar doesn't come out. No one interferes on Jey Uso's behalf. Oba wins clean, which means he's probably going to face most likely Roman because he brought him up during his promos at SummerSlam on night 2, but night 1, we get Lesnar versus Oba 3. So Lesnar does the job on the first night. Oba goes on to face on the second night. Whether or not he wins will remain to be seen. But again, like I said, option 3, this is the rocket strapped to his back option at the moment. And I think, though I don't hate that they've done this with Oba, I'm fine with them strapping the rocket to Oba. There's a part of me that goes, man, just do it, give it all. Let's take a chance on the new guy. Then there's the other part of me that goes, it's still too soon. He's been up on the main roster for less than 6 months, or around 6 months. I don't know if I buy him as a world champion this early. I feel like as much as we've seen from him, it's still not been enough for me to go, yeah, let's make him a world champion. That being said, if they did that, I don't think I'd hate it. It's fun. It's fine to try new things, see what happens. But I could understand the other side of that going, yeah, this is way too soon. This is putting all your eggs in one basket. We don't even know if he can carry a show by himself yet. We know he can carry a match. We don't know if he can carry a show. But largely, a lot of his matches have been squash matches or big fight feel matches with Lesnar. And, of course, the one-off he had with Cody. I do feel like this match with Jey, I'm going to be honest, I feel like the match underwhelmed. I don't think it was as big as a deal as it could have been. I don't think it felt as big as a deal as it should have. I feel like there were some things in here that have people scratching their head. There's currently a clip going around online right now that it looks like Oba tapped out while he was in the sleeper. That's a big point of contention. Half the fans are split on that because it looks like he tapped by accident. That being said, there's the other half to go, no, that was him trying to rally himself up. Yeah, but slapping a mat multiple times in a submission hold, whether you're trying to rally the fans or not, that signals a tap. So I think it's just going to remain to be seen. But Oba is your king of the ring. I don't hate putting him over because we are trying to make this the next big thing, and it's working. I also don't think Jey needed it.
When it comes down to it, I'm not mad that Jey lost. I'm not upset Jey lost. Even as a diehard Jey Uso fan that I am, it was completely possible for Oba to win. Am I disappointed that Jey didn't win? Yes. But I'm not going to complain and say, oh, Jey got cheated because Oba tapped, even though that's what I mean. I completely think that, but and where even am I? My bad. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wrestlers tend to hit the mat at least once or twice just to rally themselves. But I think if it's 3 or more, it's considered a tap, right? Either way, it's fine. But the only outcome I can see is what Blood said. Oba challenging Roman at SummerSlam, but Brock wants the spot instead. So they not only go after it on night 1 for the spot, but for retirement for Lesnar. So Oba beats Lesnar, and then he pulls double duty, goes after Roman on night 2. But the match was okay. I'm not complaining about it. I liked it, and it was a fun match.
I love the match except for one thing. And I know that it's not just me who feels like this. Soto himself thought the exact same thing for a bit. I'm still slightly iffy on the fact that Brock didn't show up. Like, I get what Blood's saying, and it fits perfectly. It works. I could see that happening. But the problem is the fact that you have been saying Brock Lesnar's name week after week after week after week, basically hinting that he was going to show up and interfere, only for it to not happen at all. So that's my only gripe about it. It's the fact that I kind of feel like Brock should have showed up.
Yeah, I mean, but then aren't you glad that he didn't show up, because that would have been too predictable. That's my next question. Would you guys prefer to see Lesnar show up at Night of Champions? Because I don't. That's just me personally. That's one question. My other question to you guys is, did you guys see the comments? I saw a clip of Jey Uso saying that he doesn't care about the fans anymore. I don't know if this was like a post interview or if this was before, but Jey Uso pretty much is like, he's addressing all the hate that he's been getting online, which he didn't do that before. But for some reason, now he's deciding to point that out, where he's like, yeah, I see all that. He's like, I don't care about them anymore. I don't care about the fans. Thoughts on that?
I think that might be slightly out of context. I'm sure what he means is he doesn't care about the negativity from the fans. It's not like Jey Uso
He
to
said,
sit there.
I don't care about the fans, was his quote.
And again, if it's a quote, it might be out of context because there's words before that and there's words after that. That's what out of context means. But at the same time, you know, he had mentioned it in his promo last Monday where he said, you know, I hear everything I see online, the haters hating on me, people saying what they say about me. He goes, but I don't check it though. I don't care is what he said in that promo. He goes, I don't care because I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to shut the haters up. I'm going to prove them wrong. That's probably what he was reiterating. And then they took it out of context, as the IWC loves to do. My thing with the match itself, I'm 50-50. I would have been totally fine if Brock interfered and Jey won because of that. I'm also fine that Brock didn't interfere and we decided to give Oba a clean win. Just reiterating his strength, his star power, the fact that, hey, WWE is going, we are pushing young talent. Here you go. This is your guy you want. We're giving him to you. So I'm fine either way. My problem with the match itself in its entirety, either or way, is that you could say that it's predictable that Brock would have shown up and cost him the match, but you can also say it's predictable that they were going to have Oba win the whole thing. You can say either or, and I feel like people have. So my thing is, this was a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because I do see comments even on our feed of fans hating on Oba, thinking that he's being pushed too quick, too fast, too far, thinking that he's overrated. And I see other people saying the same thing about Jey. And I feel like this goes one of two ways. People, when Jey got brought over to Raw and broke off the bloodline, he was the most beloved guy in the fucking company for all of 6 months. And the moment he won the Rumble, and then the moment he won the championship, all of a sudden, like always, the wrestling community goes, oh, well, now that you're successful, we fucking hate you. And I could see the same thing with this happening with Oba. Oh, they love him now, but I'm already seeing the chatter online of people turning on Oba. So watch, he goes to SummerSlam. Let's say he does beat Roman. Watch the fans turn on him again. It always happens. You love a guy and you feel like you have a huge stake in his success. And the moment he gets it, you go, oh, well, now you're not an underdog. Now you're one of the top upper echelon. Now you're Oba Hogan, and we don't want to push you. We don't want you pushed anymore. The next person, please. And that's why the IWC honestly just cannot be trusted half the time.
All right. Well, we have a queen of the ring officially, Iyo Sky. She defeated Liv Morgan in the finals of the Queen of the Ring. But there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened in this match. From the beginning, the entrance, Danhausen was out there for some odd reason. I forgot why he was even out there, but he was out there on the stage. He got interrupted by Liv Morgan. And Liv Morgan cuts a promo on him. It's like, hey, you owe us a bunch of money. Pay us back. Danhausen's like, you're cursed. And it's like, well, fuck, there it is. The curse is real. Liv Morgan is going to lose, right? But there's a part of me that was like hoping that Liv Morgan was going to win, because I would have just felt like I could have saved about, because this match was long. This match was like 15, 20 minutes long, a lot longer than the opening match, Jey Uso versus Oba Femi. And I'm like, I could have skipped forward through all of that after Danhausen cursed Liv Morgan and saved me a bunch of time. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch it anyway. The match, it wasn't the greatest match that I've seen from Iyo Sky or Liv Morgan. It was awkward pacing of the match. It was very safe. It was very slow. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't need to see fucking 100 miles an hour nonstop, bam, bam, bam. You know, I don't need to see that, but I'd like to see some type of urgency, just maybe a little bit. I didn't feel like I got any of that during this match, because it is Iyo Sky. They did some pretty cool spots. And then at one point during the match, Iyo Sky landed wrong on her knee and was selling the knee. Liv Morgan was going after it. She was attacking the knee, but Iyo Sky still managed to get the win clean. No interference, no judgment day, no nothing. Iyo Sky hit her finisher. She pinned Liv Morgan, the current World Heavyweight Champion. And the crazier thing, on top of everything that happened in this match, you know, we were thinking, okay, the bigger match has to be, if Iyo wins, it has to be Rhea Ripley. Well, there's a post-interview in the ring where Iyo Sky says, Liv Morgan, I'm coming for you. So we're going to see this get again at SummerSlam. Fuck. That's how I felt. What'd you guys think?
All right, so this is going to be one of those parts of the show where I'm going to rant for about a minute, and I want you to post it to our socials. So everything I say after this, I want this clipped, because I need people to understand and also see how they feel and see if they match what I'm understanding. From right now. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that this show had some extremely odd decisions made for the overall booking of the show. First off, Danhausen was out there. We never found out what his initial reason for being out there was. He just was. Liv comes out for some comedy bullshit about the $100,000 that she feels he owes her for not cursing Oba Femi so Dom could win in the tournament. He curses her. This, for me, ruined the match before it ever started, because you automatically just spoiled for me that Liv's losing. Automatically. Immediately. I was like, oh, great. Liv's losing. Why are we watching the rest of this match? Complete waste of time. You just told me she's losing, so why do I need to see it? We then get a very weirdly paced, very weirdly plotted match where it goes for a long time. It's decent, but it's neither of these two women's best performances. We tell the story of the knee. Iyo gets the win clean. Then automatically another weird decision. Iyo gets interviewed after. Automatically goes, Liv Morgan, I'll see you at SummerSlam. Automatically fucking us two ways. One, we could have had the Charlotte Iyo match, which would have been incredible, and it would have been great to think either Charlotte or Iyo was getting a rematch against Rhea. No, we put Liv in here for no reason. She loses anyway, still is a champion, so whatever she costs her, it didn't matter. And now we're getting the rematch of this announced a month early for no fucking reason, because now we don't need to see this again. And I feel like we just lost the plot. We could have had two very good outcomes if either Charlotte or Iyo was in this spot winning to go against Rhea. Instead, we went with, not only are we going to spoil the match for you right before it starts, we're then going to make it so there was no stakes to begin with because Io's just going to go straight back for Liv at SummerSlam. I thought it was ridiculously stupid.
First and foremost, I want to give a special thanks to Danhausen for cursing Liv Morgan. Thank God. I mean, I just did not want to see her go after Rhea. I mean, and also in all seriousness, who actually saw Iyo losing? Because I mean, Liv is champion. I don't think anyone saw Iyo losing. I think I said it in our predictions when this was probably our match at SummerSlam. It is. But I would have liked it more if Raquel and Roxanne turned on Liv. I thought that would have been better than Danhausen cursing her. But it was a predictable outcome for me because I just don't like Liv anymore.
Liv Morgan, you protest too much. In the post show, she had a little interview portion with Byron Saxton, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not cursed. He was just joking. I'm totally not cursed. I'm not cursed at all. You protest too much, Liv." But here's my thing. Unfortunately, I feel like Iyo chose the wrong person. But because of the fact that she chose Liv, it tells me one thing. Rhea will not be cleared in time for SummerSlam. That, unfortunately, is what that tells me. Because if she was, I had a feeling like Iyo was going to go after Rhea and not Liv. But because of the fact that Liv is still injured from whatever the fuck happened to her, she's out at SummerSlam, and we're not getting the final chapter, hopefully, to that Rhea and Iyo storyline that's been going on.
That's true. That's a good point. That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, that could be the decision for them to have Iyo go after Liv Morgan instead of Rhea Ripley. You know, that was definitely a thought that came across my mind. I just hope that the way that their match went at Night of Champions, I hope that was intentional because they're planning them to go at it again at SummerSlam. And I'm hoping at SummerSlam they turn it up even more because if they're going to have the same type of match again at SummerSlam, I don't want to see it. I'm sorry, but I don't.
Yeah, I agree. And here's my thing. SummerSlam is in August, okay? August 2nd. So for me, I'm wondering, first off, how badly injured is Rhea that she's out for a month and a half? That's my biggest thing. A month and a half of in-ring action. We haven't seen her in the ring in a couple of weeks. So she's honestly probably got a full injury time of like 2 months here. And that right there, even if you take out her injury, we still have no idea where the actual like thought process was as to why Liv was ever in this tournament to begin with. Even if she lost, she would still be the person being challenged by the winner. So it just makes me wonder why we didn't put anyone else in this final. Why not Bayley? Bayley and Iyo have history. Why not one of the newer girls, freaking Lash Legend or someone else where we gave them a spotlight of the main event of a tournament to see if they could do it. There are so many women on this roster. Why wasn't Ivy Nile in the tournament? Why wasn't Maxine Dupree in this tournament? We could have had Chelsea Green come all the way down here. She has so much fanfare, the audience would have ate her up. So it's just like, why did it have to be Liv? That's what's crazy to me. To end up at her anyway makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird choice to have Liv Morgan in the tournament to begin with. That's for sure. But we got a couple comments here. I want to give a shout out to They Love Sabdi. Show the Great American Bash. I wish we no longer live stream or do reaction clips for obvious reasons, or else I would. But we are going over Night of Champions right now. And also shout out to Evil Con Carne. Moxley and Bandito are having a generational banger right now. I don't know about all that. I mean, I don't know. Moxley. Okay. Now there's a lot of wrestling going on right now. Slammiversary was later on or earlier. Forbidden Door is going on right now. The American Bash is going on right now. So we have a lot. I have a lot of wrestling to catch up on after we do our Night of Champions review. That's for sure. So no spoilers, please. I know by saying that I'm probably going to get a shit ton of spoilers on here, but I'm going to be watching that later. All right, up next, we're going to be going over the big blow-off steel cage match between my boy, the badass Bron Breakker, versus Seth freaking Rollins. And I thought this was what I hope is the perfect ending to a long and ongoing feud that took a long time because of injuries. Seth Rollins was out. Bron Breakker was out. This is the rubber match. They were 1-1. It was a tiebreaker. And man, they decided to go with Seth Rollins to win this feud. Seth Rollins defeated Bron Breakker after what I thought was a pretty good steel cage match. I mean, I was excited for this because I always felt like a feud like this needed to have an ending like this one. A big stipulation match, a hardcore match, a violent match, and there was color here, and you know, it added more to it. I liked everything about this match. I honestly cannot find too much to complain about it, except for maybe I was hoping Bron Breakker was going to come out on top, but it was Seth Rollins. How did you guys feel about this one?
Again, it continues the trend for me of underwhelming matches. What should be an intense match has just honestly lost the luster of the stipulation in so many years. I mean, this might be the first steel cage match I can think of in the last however many handful of years that actually had no interference, but funnily enough, needed it. Because for me, where the fuck was Austin Theory? Like, I mean, even Logan's injured. They haven't fully brought Bronson back at all yet, but we've seen him training on socials. But like, Bron Breakker needed to win this feud. He has lost so much momentum from the injuries, from the time off, from the story, the vision shifting so many times, that he needed this win to get his momentum back, to get the notch in his belt. I beat a main eventer, future ballot Hall of Famer, like former world champion in Seth Rollins. I won. I beat him in this feud. He needed it. Seth did not need this. Okay. And yes, we got busted open over the eyebrow, cool visual, cool on the color, some cool, interesting spots, superplex through a table, all that, to get a very odd finish of like Braun, like basically waving Seth off from the stomp, like, hold on, give me a second. And then this awkward fucking pause where Braun just wants to emote before eating a final stomp. I was like, what the fuck was that? And my brother, who is the biggest Bron Breakker stan, was watching that like, okay, well, that was weird. As soon as the match ended, I'm just like, what was this for? Because even if, let's say, the plan is for Oba Femi to actually go after Roman at SummerSlam, then what the fuck is Seth doing? Because by all reports, they wanted Seth and Roman to have their blow off, their final match against each other at Mania earlier this year, but it couldn't happen because of injury changing Seth's trajectory. So he had to end up facing Gunther for no fucking random reason at the last minute. And CM Punk and Roman were already in a feud. So the reports were stating, and I know they're reports and they're not always factual, were that Seth was going to be facing Roman at SummerSlam. But if Oba's going for Roman, which he's been talking about him in promos, there's no reason for him to go and choose Sami, because we have heard nothing about him and Sami at all. Then what the fuck is Seth doing at SummerSlam that justified him winning here? Because if he's not facing Roman, then he didn't need the win to put himself in contention for that championship. This should have been Braun. And so for me, it's just another weird decision that didn't make sense when you look down the road at what they've been telling us in promos and in the stories. Braun needed this more, not just for his momentum, but from a narrative standpoint. He made sense to win here.
Just really quick, this is one thing that I thought was interesting because you brought up a good point. We didn't get any interferences in the steel cage match, but I think it wasn't needed because the whole point of a steel cage is to keep people from getting in there and interfering and from keeping Braun and Seth from leaving the ring. So I think whenever there's interferences in a steel cage match, I feel like it kind of defeats the whole purpose of having a steel cage. That was one thing. And then the other thing that I wanted to say really quick before I let Toxic go is maybe the plan is Oba versus Roman, but Seth Rollins still has to, I feel like he still has to go on that journey of trying to get his title back. Maybe we still see Seth maybe at Mania for the World Heavyweight Championship versus either, Roman or Oba. I would like to see Oba versus Seth.
And that's all fine and good. But two things. One, a steel cage has two ways of winning: pinfall or submission in the ring, or escaping the cage through the door over the top. At one point, Braun tried to escape over the top. And at one point, the door was open and he used the door to nail Seth in the head. That would have been a perfect time for Austin to throw the door into Seth's head. Thus, we've got interference giving Braun the upper hand. Braun wins. Even if we do see, and the second point is, even if we do see Seth versus Roman at Mania 43 back here in Saudi, that doesn't mean Seth needed to win here, because we can build him getting that back next year. He could win the Rumble or whatever. But the thing is, Braun needed not only his momentum back, he needed his credibility back. He lost to Seth twice now. He lost to CM Punk. He's only been able to beat Roman the Usos in a tag format. Okay. Yeah. He also lost the IC championship to Jey a year and a half ago. At what point am I supposed to believe this is the unpredictable badass when he loses to everybody? So there's a reason the fans now gravitated to Oba when they were gravitating to Braun before his injury. Braun is now yesterday's news. And this was a great chance to put him back in that conversation with Oba for leading the future of this business. I still believe Braun's going to be that. You can have more than one guy at the top, but you got to give them credibility for the fans to buy that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would have loved to see Bron Breakker win. It was an interesting choice. We'll see what happens with Breakker, but what'd you think, Tox?
I think the match looked awesome to me, and a very well worked out and rehearsed match. The one thing I think I did like spot wise that I did like was the stomp from the second turnbuckle. I think it was second or top turnbuckle. I think I can definitely see that going in a 2K soon, like either this one or 27. But from what I saw, I liked it, but I did like the fact that Braun and Seth said that they weren't leaving the cage. That was one thing that they definitely weren't doing. But then Braun, out of the both of them, attempted first. So I think that just shows how much Seth can take. Yet again, he is the veteran, so that can explain why he can take that much in a steel cage. But I mean, it felt like a blood feud ending to me. That's at least what it felt like to me. But I'm glad Seth can move on from the Vision if Bronson Reed doesn't return and beat the absolute shit out of him, because I can definitely see that happening soon.
Yeah, I have a feeling like Bronson may be coming back here soon, knowing the fact that his last two posts the other night was him in the Vision vest, and then last night's post was the face-off between Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker, and that face-off from back in the day. Well, not back in the day, within the last couple of years, but still, those were his last two posts. But I do love the fact that within the first 30 seconds of the bell ringing, they were both just sitting across from each other. And if you listen, you can hear Seth going, "Hey, no one's escaping. We're finishing this in the middle of this ring. No one is escaping. You do not stand a chance. We're going to see what type of man you are. Who are you? What type of man are you? We're about to find out right now." And then that's where the strikes happen. right after he says that. I do love that start because that was one hell of a start there. But I do agree that Bron Breakker absolutely should have won this because between the two of them, and I'm pretty sure I said this during predictions, the one that can for sure take the bigger hit between the two is Rollins. He is a former world champion, going to be Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that with all of his accolades. So at this point, Bron Breakker should have been the one who won this because of the fact that his momentum has just been slowed down so many times within the past year because of this feud.
All right, then we had Ricky Saints versus Trick Williams for the United States Championship. And as you know, I love Ricky Saints, but I don't think anyone really believed Ricky Saints was going to win at Night of Champions. I mean, Trick Williams, he got another win, another convincing title defense to add to his, so for his title reign, which is great. They did try to give us a little bit of hope in the beginning of the match. Ricky Saints looked really good. He was in control of the match. Even got Lil Yachty kicked out of the match. You're going to the back. Ricky Saints did a little lie, cheating, and stealing a la Eddie Guerrero, and it worked. And Ricky Saints looked like, oh, he's about to outsmart the champion, but nah, Trick Williams retained.
Yeah, again, predictable outcomes tonight. Extremely predictable. Even though we all knew Braun should have won, you could feel Seth was going to do it. Halfway through the match, you were like, yep, nope, know where this is going. With this, it was like, yep, know where this is going. Of course, Trick was going to retain. Again, I keep saying that there are just decisions with this show, this PLE, that boggle my mind a bit, that I'm like, I'm not booking the show. And yeah, it's asinine for me to sit there and say, that's not how I would have done it. But fuck you, I'm going to say it. That's not how I would have done it. This should have been a triple threat. Carmelo Hayes should have been in this match. I'm fine if Trick Williams retains, but why is Carmelo getting the scrub twice, 2 times in a row, where matches should have been triple threats? Him, Sammy, and Trick. This should have been Trick and fucking Ricky and Carmelo. It should have been a triple threat because Carmelo did a lot of work with this title, and he's been taken in and out of this story on 2 separate occasions. And everything he's done this year has revolved around this title. And he was a part of this feud and got screwed over by Ricky, so Ricky could take this spot, stealing a win from him by cheating. So I feel like even if he didn't make it a triple threat, Carmelo should have been involved in the finish. Carmelo should, even if you eject Lil Yachty, and then you think, oh, fuck, all hope is lost. Trick is going to lose. Ricky's got the upper hand. Out comes Carmelo, and fucking Tricks distracts or screws over Ricky to make sure Trick retains. Thus, 1, re-solidifying, hey, this is a great baby face. 2, it payback is a bitch on Ricky. And 3, it can protect Ricky in the loss and still keep the championship on Trick Williams. It accomplishes multiple things while also being okay with ejecting Lil Yachty and not him still coming back out anyway. So for me, it's just like more confusing decisions made or not made for this show. Great match, but it was a match. And why was it here if Trick, we all knew Trick was going to win?
Here's something that I'd like to comment on what you just said. The fact that this wasn't a triple threat match, that it should have been a triple threat match. And I think one of the reasons why they didn't do that is because the main event, that was a triple threat match for a title. So it's like, there's no need to have 2 of the same matches on the same card. It's already Night of Champions where 3 other championships were defended. So I think that could be a reason why it wasn't a triple threat match, because they knew that the main event, it takes away from the main event if you have the same type of match on the card itself. I feel like
I agree and I disagree, because we used to have a PLE called Fatal 4-Way where every match was a Fatal 4-Way. We had the Royal Rumble, 2 matches, specifically 30 people in each match that goes on for an hour plus each. We have Elimination Chamber, 2 of those in the same night. One of them always main events. Like I don't think it takes away. It's just what makes sense. You have had Carmelo involved in this story week in and week out and in promo segments and in arguments with both of these men. And he was the champion that got robbed of it. So why is he not included in some way? I feel like at some point you got to put him in a triple threat for this because you've teased it twice and then you've ejected him from the story twice, but you'll keep running him back in this same story without pulling the trigger on that one match.
The only reason they do that, where they have 2 of the same matches, is because they have to do one for the women too, because they have to now.
Yeah, but even then, even when they didn't used to, even before, Stephanie McMahon invented women in 2016 with the Evolution, we used to have multiple Hell in a Cells, multiple Elimination Chambers, multiple Money in the Banks. We had, like I said, a Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view centric on Fatal 4-Ways for every match. Like WWE made that's because it lasted 1 year. But WWE have made that a whole thing many times.
Well, that's probably why it only lasted a year, because it's like, why are we doing that? That's stupid.
Yeah, but then the Money in the Bank pay-per-view going on 12 years for no reason. Like, it's just, I feel like if you keep saying in some ways they push younger talent and they keep momentum of talent. And then in other ways, they go, well, we're going to push this guy and this guy, but we're not going to push you. Why not push all 3 at the same time? They're in the same story right now. Why not just, you have all 3 in the story, use them all at the same fucking time. It is not that hard. I don't think fans are going to bitch and moan that much about, oh, well, we saw one triple threat earlier. Yeah, but they're going to be 2 completely different match setups, 2 completely different titles, and they're 2 completely different stories. So even if the match type is the same, they'll feel different.
Let's be honest, Ricky wasn't winning this, but I liked how, even though I think someone has said it on here before, Lil Yachty wasn't just a one-time thing, and then he's gone until he decides to do something in WWE again. Jelly Roll was that way, but he's got a lot going on. So I see why he did that. But Yachty has been here for a while, and he's proven to me that he actually cares about this, and that the people as the elbow that he did was nice. I'd like to see him get in the ring a lot more instead of just being Trick's manager. And we desperately need that triple threat with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams and Ricky Saints.
Go give your dog a treat or something. Tell him to shut the fuck up.
It's not mine. It's my sister's.
Yeah, this absolutely should have been a triple threat. It really should have. But, of course, to start this fully off, before I get into my full thoughts on this, the biggest congratulations to our United States champion on his marriage to Lash Legend, because that happened last week. So congratulations on that one there, Trick. But this match I had a lot of fun with because of the fact that it is the 2 of them. And Ricky Saints, I called it the moment that number 1 contenders match ended. As soon as that ended, I'm like, well, at least he's competing for it, because there's no possible way that Trick Williams is losing that title to Ricky Saints. Not yet. There's too much going on involving Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams and a bunch of other people that he's just not losing that title.
It just, in my opinion, to finish that thought, the triple threat aspect also serves as it makes the match less predictable. Ricky versus Trick, we all knew who was winning. But the moment you throw Carmelo in there, oh, well, it's Steiner math. Now it's 33.33% chance. And now it's not just, oh, well, Trick's definitely winning against one guy. But shit, you know what you think when you see that he's got to get through 2 people? Oh, it's a hell of a lot less predictable because Carmelo could pick it back up. And we all know, hey, Trick just got married. What if he drops it so he can go on his honeymoon? You start thinking about those things. There's a logicality to it. With a triple threat, it does make it more up in the air. And so the one-on-one aspect here, I feel like served no purpose other than to give Trick another win.
I don't think the main event would have been as great of a moment, as big of a deal as it was, if there was another triple threat match on the card.
I completely disagree, because that's like saying if the main event of WrestleMania was a one-on-one and then we had another 4 one-on-ones this week, it would make the main event less special.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Really? But that's exactly what it is.
One-on-one is that's what a wrestling match should be. A triple threat match is a special stipulation that only happens like on occasions, you know. A one-on-one match, that's just wrestling.
Yeah, but you're proving my own point. Aside from the fact that multi-man matches go back 70 years, let's talk about the fact that if you're saying
not on the same card, blood.
They used to run them all they used to run them all the time. But
No,
my point is that if you're going to sit there and say, well, the main event wouldn't have been as special if this other match type was the exact same, you're saying the same thing. Because if you have 3 one-on-one matches for a title before that match happens, and then the main event is a one-on-one match for a title, does it lose its special nature then?
Yeah, it does.
But that's just wrestling.
No, not when a title is involved. A title is like, it's supposed to mean something. It's more important. A title is like, oh, this is for a championship. It's not the same. If you have 3 one-on-one matches and they're all for titles, it's like, then the title's not that important because you have multiple titles being defended in that case.
But welcome to what this PLE's gimmick is. Every title on the line. So that's the difference. Like you go back 10 years, this pay-per-view used to be like 9 fucking matches long. Every title. You had 2 tag titles, 2 women's matches, you had 2 men's matches,
Right.
Then you had the mid-card titles. Like there might have been one match that wasn't championship.
Which is why I was okay with only having 3 titles being defended, because if we have 6 titles being defended, it's like after a while, it's like I don't care anymore. Like they're all title matches. It's not going to feel special. It's not going to feel important. It's just going to be like, oh, they're just, we have all these titles and everyone's going to get a title shot. Like,
again, I agree to disagree, because I feel like that point's redundant. If you go to WrestleMania 2 nights, that's like saying, well, WrestleMania is not as special because it's now a second night, and everything on the first night, you know, we're going to get the same thing on the second night because they're all the same types of matches, and there's going to be the same types of titles on the line just for the opposite brand, and there's going to be a celebrity on both nights. It's the same night. So WrestleMania is not as
never be 2 nights. It should be 1 night, and that's it. We don't need fucking 12 matches.
Well, that's why it's 2 nights, because they have too many brands and too many titles. I don't miss 7-hour WrestleManias like 2018, 7 hours. So
it's
like
insane.
Yeah,
it's insane to be watching fucking 2 nights of wrestling, and each show is fucking 5-6 hours long. It's ridiculous.
The point is, all wrestling is repetitive, regardless. But if it's going to be repetitive, it should be repetitive with a purpose.
Well, we didn't get interference in the opening match with Oba Femi. We didn't get Lesnar. We didn't get interference in the cage match. No Vision. We got a bunch of interferences in the women's United States Championship match, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill, because Michin and BFAV ran in, and then Chelsea Green came out, and Charlotte Flair came out, and it's just like everyone got involved in this match, which ultimately led to Chelsea Green and Charlotte Flair evening the odds for Tiffany Stratton, and Tiffany Stratton retained in this rematch, this WrestleMania rematch for the Women's United States Championship versus Jade Cargill.
Yeah, man. Talk about a match that didn't need to happen. Let me put it this way. This was like their 4th one-on-one in a year for a title. Like every time they faced, it's been for a championship. Minus maybe once on SmackDown like a month and a half ago. But like, let me put it this way. My brother, who watched this with me, is a massive Tiffany Stratton fan. And the whole time he's going up, he's like, who do you want to win? And I told him, I don't care. I think that together they're horrible. They both have bad chemistry, and they both need to train more, because I feel like Tiffany's athletically gifted with gymnastics, but I don't think she's grasped wrestling. And I said, Jade Cargill has the look and the body and the presence, but she needs to train more. I don't think she's ready for the spots they've been giving her. And he's like defending it, like, no, they're great. They're going to have a great match. You're just talking out of your ass. Tiffany's amazing. 2 minutes into the match, my brother goes, okay, I take it back. I was wrong. Yeah, they're horrible together. And this match is really awkward. It's really slow. Oh my God. They just keep botching. Because I told him the reason I didn't like these two together is because every time Tiffany wrestles in the last year, she almost dies or breaks her neck. And I said, it happens a lot when she's with Jade. And I said, I respect these women for going out there and doing it, but I don't like watching them wrestle because I don't want to watch them hurt each other. And 2 minutes in, Tiffany almost breaks her neck off the top rope and then goes for a suicide dive, gets her feet caught in the middle rope, and thank God Jade was close enough to catch her because she would have slammed her face into the ground. And then we just kept going through another 6 minutes of, oh my God, please don't hurt each other. And when the match ended, my brother goes, oh yeah, that was fucking horrible. Who spent the previous 7 minutes of entrances defending them to me. So like, that should tell you all that I think about this match. Please don't ever have them verse each other again, at least for another year. Because Stones needs to see it. And personally, they've got literally zero chemistry together. And honestly, neither of them are interesting enough for this to revolve around a title.
I figured I wouldn't care for it. Surprise, surprise, I was right. I'm so glad Chelsea and Charlotte got involved because I don't even know what I would have done if they didn't. Hopefully we get this feud with Charlotte and Jade, or actually no, I see it starting off with a 6-woman tag match. Yay, everyone's favorite. Chelsea, Charlotte, and Tiffany or Alexa, whatever one you want to do, versus Jade and her goons, whatever you call them. And then I could just see Jade and Charlotte just beating each other up into the crowd. So that's how I see this starting. But like I said, I didn't give a shit.
Toxic, I don't think any of us did. Because as Blood said, these two have wrestled 4 times now, and they all were fucking horrendous. They just were. So overall, thank God for Charlotte Flair for evening those odds. I had a feeling like Chelsea Green was going to come out because she's been trying to be buddy-buddy with Tiffany Stratton as of late. But thank God that Charlotte Flair came out to even the odds fully, because I don't know what the hell I would have done if they handed that title to fucking Jade Cargill. Because God, no, I do not need another title reign anytime soon of any sort from Jade fucking Cargill.
What I'm trying to figure out is, I've said this a couple of times over the last few months with Jade regarding Jade, her whole new faction, the heel thing. Look, I don't give a fuck who wins or loses this because I don't care about either of these women's characters. Let me specify characters. I think they're both probably very lovely human beings, and they do the best they can. They're just not interesting to watch together. But look, when it comes down to it, this would have been better if it was Chelsea Green as champion, Jordan Grace as champion, Charlotte as champion, anybody else but these two. My thing is, what does this do for Jade? What was the point of turning her heel, giving her a whole ass heel faction, turning those two, Meechin and B-Fat, heel with her, because they were both baby faces, to keep feeding Jade losses? When Jade was champion and these two joined her, she lost that title 3 weeks later. She then never regained it. Then she literally started vying for this title, and she has not been able to capture this title and has lost all the attempts she's had trying to get this title. If you can't win with these people together, why are they together? You just have to ask, what's the point of any of this if it does nothing for any of these 3 women? And honestly, I don't think it does anything for Tiffany over here other than, oh, she's a champion and oh, she retained. But it doesn't even feel like she cares about this championship. It feels like she feels like it's a demotion. So for me, it's just like, Why, if I can feel that there's no care in the building of any of this program, why would the fans give a shit? Why should I give a shit?
This is going to set up Jade Cargill versus Charlotte Flair. That was the point of Charlotte Flair being out there and costing Jade Cargill the match. It just builds up their feud, which has been already kind of been a thing for like the past month or whatever.
And that's fine. But I feel like just to build that feud, we sacrifice the credibility of everybody involved other than Tiffany. So like B-Fab and Michin, they still look like idiots. Jade looks like she can't get the job done with or without help. Chelsea got the loudest pop out of everybody next to Charlotte because people love Chelsea, and this should have been Chelsea in this spot. And then people love Charlotte again. So what did it do for the actual two women in the match? And then the two that are on Jade's side who looked like idiots because even with the numbers game, she couldn't win. So even though it sets up Charlotte and Jade, that's fine. Part of me doesn't even want to see Charlotte and Jade because I've already seen how Jade acted with Rhea. Okay. And she was unprofessional and all that other stuff. But I've also seen Jade get a little too snug in the ring. I've seen Tiffany get I don't want to see them injure Charlotte. I don't want to see this go the way of Tiffany and Charlotte from last year, where Tiffany goes off script and then starts getting overly personal and being disrespectful. And then it's just uncomfortable and awkward for everybody watching. And no one gets anything out of it other than, wow, this is cringe as fuck. I'm turning my TV off.
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, the match I would like to see is Charlotte versus Liv Morgan, because after their match at SmackDown, Liv Morgan beat the fuck out of Charlotte. But, I mean, B-Fab and Michin attacked Charlotte before the match. Okay, yeah. But Liv Morgan, out of Jade Cargill and out of Michin and B-Fab, she was the one that got the most heat on Charlotte. And it's like, that's what I would like to see. But, I don't know. Maybe, I kind of do want to see Jade and Charlotte, but
just a lot of weird choices. Just a lot of weird choices tonight. Because let's be honest, what do you want to see more? Jade versus Charlotte or Iyo versus Charlotte? Because you really want to see Jade versus Charlotte more than you want to see Iyo.
I think if someone can get a good match out of Jade, I think it's Charlotte.
I mean, Rhea could barely get a good match out of Jade, and Rhea's insanely good.
Rhea's not Charlotte, bro.
Should I take it back to WrestleMania 38? So
Rhea's not Charlotte. Just because Rhea can't have a good match with Jade doesn't mean that Charlotte can't.
Yeah, but to me, when I think of what's a bigger match, Charlotte and Iyo, because we got Charlotte and Asuka, they wrestle similar styles. We've had Charlotte and Rhea, again, somewhat similar, less high flying on Rhea. Then I think of what Charlotte's style is, technical brawler. And then you have Charlotte, who's just powerhouse.
All you have to say is you don't have confidence in your girl Charlotte, bro, and that's cool, bro. I believe.
No, I don't have confidence in Jade. I got confidence in Charlotte to lead her through a decent match, but not a great match. There you go.
Me too. All right, I hate triple threat matches, y'all. Y'all know this, but I love this one. The triple threat match, Undisputed Championship on the line, Gunther, Sami, and Cody Rhodes. I'm a Cody crybaby for life. I love what they've been doing with Sami Zayn, and I love Gunther. And I'm not going to sit here and say, I knew this was going to happen. Maybe I was too into the match to really like say, oh, Sami has to win. They're in Saudi Arabia. I was like completely invested in this. Like, I was like, oh my God, what is going to happen? Because I'm so used to seeing Sami Zayn just never being able to pull it off, right? It's been said over and over again. Sami always chokes. He never gets the job done. So I think I was like used to seeing that I kind of thought that Gunther was going to win it because no one expected that to happen. It would have gotten a lot of heat. The people would have been pissed off. And the WWE has done shit like that in the past. So I'm like, oh man, if Gunther wins, that would be crazy. But in my heart, in my mind, I thought it was going to be Cody because they can tell that story like, oh, Sami Zayn, you know, he's going to go crazy and he's going to turn heel and we're going to get this match at at WrestleMania or something, right? Sammy's going to pull it off, but it's not tonight. But he fucking did, man. He fucking did it. Sami Zayn, after so many fucking years of trying, he did it in Saudi Arabia, his second home. It was a great moment. And it was interesting. The time of this is interesting because he's been getting booed. So I'm really looking forward to SmackDown because you know how the WWE fans are. No matter who you are, they love to chant, "You deserve it." So I can't wait to see what Sammy's reaction is going to be because he's going to get cheered. I thought this was a great fucking moment.
I definitely want you to clip this because I think this is going to make a lot of sense to people. Sami winning at Night of Champions is the smartest decision WWE made the entire show. It's the smartest booking decision of the night. And I'll tell you why. There was a lot of speculation for months, even by us at nauseum, that we believed Sami was winning at WrestleMania 43 because it's being held in Saudi Arabia. We believe that's where they were pulling the trigger on him for the biggest moment possible. Doing it here is the smartest decision they could make because now it frees them from any obligation to the fans, especially the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that would want it to happen in Saudi. They're like, okay, well, we'll give it to you in Saudi, but we'll give it to you in Saudi when we're ready to give it to you in Saudi. That means we put the title on Sami here. We give the Saudi Kingdom what they want, what people at home want. It's good for Sami. It's fresh. People are tired of seeing Cody. So we're knocking out multiple birds with one stone here. But then because we've already done it here, the moment's already passed. Now we don't have to do it at WrestleMania 43, where we can tell whatever stories with whatever world champions we want to at the time, then without feeling like we're kind of hemlocked into whatever Saudi wants us to do with Sami on the grandest stage of them all. It was smart. Having it done now means they're not committed to doing it later or being forced into it later by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, whom are rumored to have quite a heavy hand in picking what they want to see when WWE comes into town. So I think this is a great idea. I also think it was a great match. It was really good. Definitely match of the night. These guys just kind of, all three of them have a wrestling chemistry. Their styles complement each other perfectly. Of course, I knew Sami was winning from the get-go. It was even in my prediction. I just thought this is the time. It's going to be now because Cody in the past has behind the scenes gone to bat trying to drop the title to people. He tried to drop it to Drew last year and they told him no. Him and Drew petitioned for Cody to drop it and they told him no. Earlier this year when he dropped it to Drew, he had to go to a different set of producers and Triple H to get them to agree to let him drop it to Drew because he knew it was the right time. I believe he probably did the same thing for Sami here. So it just makes sense. The biggest moment, the right time, he's getting the reactions. Why not pull the trigger? And Cody's smart enough to know, hey, the fans are getting tired of me. Let's let him miss me as champion for a bit. So let's put it on Sami. And it was a great moment and a well-deserved moment for a guy who's been wrestling for 25 fucking years.
I can't believe they actually pulled the trigger on Sami. I mean, he was one of my picks. I had either Cody or Sami, but just overall choosing Cody. But I can't believe Sami Zayn finally did it. But the only hope I have for this title reign is for him to not have a short title reign. He needs to carry that for a while. You did it twice where you just give someone a title and rip it straight away for them in like 50-something days in main event Jey Uso when he won the Intercontinental and World Heavyweight Championship. But just give Sami a long title reign. He's deserved it. And keep Gunther away from the fucking title. I just can't stand to see a wrestler that has worked their ass off to finally get a world championship just for it to be ripped away by Gunther in 50-something days. So I also have to wonder if he's fully turning heel on this coming up SmackDown. But I do have a thought on Gunther and Nick Aldis because backstage after the match, they put hands on each other. And I wonder if Nick Aldis is getting back in the ring. I mean, that's been rumored, a lot with Randy at WrestleMania 41 and the open challenge. People thought it was going to be Nick Aldis. And I'm pretty sure something with Drew. I don't know. But I'm wondering where this is going. If it's going to be like another Gunther and Pat McAfee thing. Is this going to be the return of Nick Aldis in the ring? Are we getting a new SmackDown general manager? I'm wondering all of those things, and excuse me, I'm excited to see how this plays out.
I don't even know what's going on with Tommy. I can't even see him. Tommy, are you there? Tommy, going once, going twice, going 3 times, going 4 times. All right. Well, I think I don't know, having some technical difficulties. So I think we're gonna call it here. That was a Night of Champions that we did here. Snug Wrestling the day after Night of Champions. This is Sunday. We are going to be going over the fallout of Night of Champions tomorrow after Monday Night Raw, special time. Monday Night Raw is going to be recording a couple hours earlier than usual because they're going to be pre-recording SmackDown right after because of the 4th of July weekend holiday. Friday Night SmackDown is not going to be live next week. So, yeah, stay tuned for that one. We're going to be going over that tomorrow as well. But we will see you guys on the next one. That was it for now. Mr. Blood, if you will, do the honors, please.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Snug Wrestling. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate every single one of you for supporting the show here on the channel. That is the review for 2026's Night of Champions, reviewed and in the books. You can catch us live every Monday after Raw and every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 o'clock Pacific for our post-show reviews of NXT, and on Thursdays at the same time on TikTok Live, where we discuss random and relevant wrestling topics and answer your fan questions live, and every Sunday at those exact same times for our SmackDown post-show reviews. But mark your calendars. This Tuesday, not only are we doing the Great American Bash review, we are also doing an exclusive interview with independent professional wrestling star and reigning pro wrestling Mid-South junior heavyweight champion and friend of the channel, Dwayne Cashman. I'll be interviewing him at 8 p.m. Central. So be ready for that. I hope you guys have a good time. That was a great interview last time. You're going to enjoy it this time. And you can follow Snug Wrestling on all social media, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and grab your wrestling merch, your Snug Wrestling merch at teepublic.com/Snug Wrestling. That's TEE public.com/Snug Wrestling. Those links are in our descriptions everywhere. So until next time, stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug. And boys, I said that was one time for the one time. I said that was
4 letters.
4 letters.
One word.
One word. Yeet.